The ambulance service has come a long way from its humble beginnings. A service which began primarily as a transport service, delivering patients to hospital doors, has transformed itself over the last few decades to one which delivers medical care to where the patient needs it most. If it wasn't for the crews, support teams and help from the public, more individuals and more communities would suffer the loss of friends, families and loved ones every day. This film highlights the miracles that ambulance clinicians and advisors are performing every day across the region served by the staff of South East Coast Ambulance Service. It is a testament to all the staff who work tirelessly to provide the very best care to every patient that they encounter. They work tirelessly for us, so we can go through our day knowing that their help is just a phone call away.
Ambulance service, where's the help required?
The cyclist has just collapsed on the road, on the hill.
All right, is the patient breathing?
No.
Okay, can you put your phone on hands-free so I can give you CPR instructions?
Okay.
Okay, kneel by his side, put the heel of your hand in the centre of his chest and the other hand on top. Keep your arms straight, press down 5 to 6 centimetres. Don't be afraid to press too hard. All right, I'm going to count out the rate for you, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just keep going and don't stop. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I was decorating the kitchen, cooking a roast dinner. I was prepping the veg. Children was up the end of the road playing with friends. Ollie wanted to go up there, so I went out the front door with him. As I started to walk up, I turned around to shut the door, and Ollie ran up the road a little bit. He was going in and out the archways with the windows. Then the next thing I know, he just literally disappeared from my view. And he literally ran in between 2 parked cars, and that's where the vehicle struck him.
He had his back to me because he'd been listening to his music on the stereo, and then he seemed to slump forward, and I said, "Are you okay?" And he didn't answer me, so I went round to the front, and he was slumped over, and he said, "I can't breathe," and he kept gasping for breath. Unfortunately, I had my mobile phone on me, so I phoned 999 straight away. And while I was on the phone, he turned blue, and his eyes rolled back, and his lips were blue, and that was it. So I started doing CPR.
Well, it was a normal morning. I got up, got dressed, got ready for work, started on the computer. Been working for about half an hour and felt a bit strange, and within minutes I started feeling really ill, and that's when the pain started to kick in.
I had no real indication that there was anything wrong. I went out on the Saturday morning, went to work, drove the coach. That was 10 o'clock, was the last thing I remember on the Saturday. My next memory was on the Tuesday evening following, when my wife and daughter were beside the bed.
The night previously, I actually had some pains on my shoulder, and then on the New Year's Eve, we went out for a meal, which was great.
Did, didn't we?
Yeah. And we decided then we weren't going to go out in the evening, we were going to have a relaxing evening. And I thought, oh, I don't like this, it's back again. It sort of escalated. My husband got a bit worried, and hence phoning 111. I hadn't really had any indication that there was anything wrong.
I remember leaving the house at about 7:30 in the morning. The ride didn't actually start till 8:30. I'd done a sort of hour on my own, then I met the guys at Cranley. It actually happened probably about 10 minutes after that. So at that point I wasn't feeling any symptoms at all, feeling quite normal.
I was actually 9 weeks pregnant at the time, so it was my first midwife appointment that day. So yeah, I'd been there, everything was fine. Come home, waited for Nathan to get in. I remember sitting there with Nathan, watching EastEnders and talking like about what I've been doing during the day with the midwife and stuff. And then that's it. And then waking up in hospital.
It was after I dropped Jessica off and she had a swimming competition. I left the leisure centre, and 20 minutes later it happened.
Any sign where that ambulance?
A couple of minutes away, all right? They're not far now.
Okay.
All right, just keep going.
Okay, here comes the ambulance. We can hear
All
it.
right, wait until they take over and then let me know, okay?
Yeah, they're just getting out of the
All right, just wait until they take over and then I'll leave you with them, all right? Okay, you all right with the crew there now?
Yeah, we're good. Thank you very much.
All right, I'll leave you with them. You take care.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Initially we were told that Oliver had been hit by a car, believed that he'd been dragged up to 20 feet down the road. There were concerns that he was still stuck underneath the car and that he wasn't actually breathing at the time. We found that Oliver was on the floor in the middle of the road with what can only be described as a river of blood coming from his head and running down the road towards us.
We were just on the way to another emergency, and when the dispatcher called us up and diverted us, because they knew obviously it came through as a cardiac arrest, so we were then diverted.
She wasn't the typical cardiac patient to start with. She looked very unwell, which was a giveaway sign that it could be something cardiac. But the symptoms she was describing weren't typical of a heart attack at that time. When we conducted an ECG, the ECG tracing wasn't entirely normal, and then it was as the second crew arrived, as our ambulance backup arrived, that Pat went into cardiac arrest right in front of us.
I rang Sally because I had a phone call actually from the rugby club, and they thought that Chris had had a stroke. So then we actually went to the rugby club, and I say we knew it was serious because obviously the ambulance were there and paramedics were sort of working on him, and also the fact is the air ambulance was called, so therefore you know it's serious.
I think the call had come through initially as a stroke, but on the crew's arrival with the physio, it became all clear that Chris had suffered a cardiac arrest. Prior to my arrival, he'd had CPR and defibrillation with CPR performed by the rugby team. At that point, Chris had got output, so they'd managed to successfully convert his cardiac arrest into a survivable aspect, but he was still quite gravely ill.
James was in cardiac arrest with Heidi doing CPR. John had shot the patient once, got him back into a rhythm.
I just kept pumping away, hoping he was going to come round. He did start breathing again at one point.
We arrived on scene, we obviously saw that St John's were doing CPR, so we knew from that point that it was a cardiac arrest. We shocked her 3 times in total, and after the 3rd time we gave her some medication, and she was starting to make some respiratory efforts, starting to breathe again at that point.
The quality of the CPR being given by Debbie's other half, Nathan, and I believe another bystander that was here as well, it was absolutely spot on. Some of the best CPR I've been seen done by a non-trained personnel. I remember putting some defibrillator pads on Debbie and establishing very early that actually she was in what we deemed to be a shockable rhythm. Very quickly we started to get signs of life from her.
When Sue lost consciousness, straight away went for a pulse check. Sue was then lowered to the floor carefully. And we then initiated our protocols for cardiac arrest. Within 2 shocks, Sue was back with us.
I was just so scared when I woke up because I didn't know why I was in hospital. What had happened, I just looking down, seeing all these tubes. I first of all said to Nathan, is the baby okay? And obviously due to the amount of medication that they had to give me and that obviously I suffered a miscarriage. But those ambulance crew, I can't thank them enough. They were there so quick that night from that phone call, and yeah, they saved my life.
I've had first aid training before, but you just go away from the courses and you think I'm never going to use it, and it goes to the back of your mind. And if it wasn't for Hannah on the other end of the phone, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did that night.
To be able to have come from it and be okay and be here and be able to meet them and give them a cuddle and shake their hand is just, yeah, it's fantastic. Amazing.
It's just how calm they all were. From the minute they got out of the ambulance, they knew what they were doing. You know, I had 1 or 2 of them trying to talk to me, calming me down, trying to deal with Oliver. You know, in my eyes, they are the heroes on whatever they do. You know, I'm so glad that, like, you know, we've got these guys who actually works for the NHS, to actually come and help out children and adults and other vulnerable people as well in this world.
They saved my life. There's no two ways about it. Without them, I'd be dead. And Emily would never have met her father. Hugo wouldn't have a father. So I owe them a massive debt of thanks. And the fact they kind of do this day in, day out as their job is totally mind-blowing, really.
It's fabulous to actually meet somebody who gave me my life back. To me, they're angels, you know, angels that save you. And every time I see an ambulance, I just think there goes another angel.
A big thank you, a really big thank you, because it saved Chris's life, but it saved our lives as well.
Without their dedication, I would not be here today. There's no two ways about it. I just can't thank them enough, and it's a real pleasure to have met Adam today to be able to say thank you, because I do mean that.
I had 6 more arrests in hospital, so I was very, very lucky indeed to get through all of it. But it's all down to these 2 and Adam and Steve. Those 4 will be my guardian angels forever.
It's lovely to have the opportunity to thank people that, you know, without over-dramatising, it did save my life. The fact that Nick was trying to speak to the hospital in the days after my event to work out how I was getting on, you know, and the fact that, you know, other people here were clearly very concerned after the event is enormously heartening, actually. It makes you realise that you're not just a punter, a piece of meat that, you know, they deal with and they go off to something else. You actually do have a genuine impact, and they genuinely care. It's fantastic, actually.
You know you're lucky to be here.
Yes, I cherish every minute, every day of my life. And every day is a special day for me. That's how I take it nowadays.
I just know I'm lucky that you are here. I never realised it before, but now I'm just happy you're here with me and care for me, and it's just, I'm so happy you're with me still.